My name is Brent Kellum, and this is my Capstone project presentation. This project was conducted at WSNL Middle School. It's a 5 through 8 school, and we have approximately 476 students at our school, and it is located in East Bruton, Alabama. The background and significance. Basically, we wanted to enhance our current RTI process. We weren't seeing the results that we would like to see with the one that we had in place. So we tried to tweak some things and try some different stuff to see if we could get better results overall. We wanted to implement new methods for RTI. Basically, we wanted to find some things that we weren't doing, bring them into our school, see how they would mesh, see if it would work out well with our students and our staff, and see if we could get some better results overall. Improve state testing scores. We felt like a lot of the kids that were receiving RTI, they weren't performing well on the state test, so we thought if maybe we could get that RTI and move it forward and get them on a higher level, maybe their performance on the state test would increase, also helping out our school along the way. Research and literature review. Meyer and Hornstein in 2017 focuses on 3 questions. The first being, how does RTI affect learning? What does it do? Like, what is RTI? What is the purpose of it? How can it help these children by going through the process of RTI? What new practices are required of teachers during RTI implementation? How can school and district leaders best support teach problem solving under an RTI method? What can our leaders do to help those teachers who are in the classroom trying to help these students who are receiving RTI services? How can we help them as leaders to give them what they need to help those students perform? Arden, Gandhi, Edmonds, and Danielson, 2017 tells us it is important to consider many variables such as acceptability. How well is the RTI being accepted in the students and the faculty? Strength. How strong is this program? How is it? Are we seeing the results we need to see? Quality. Is it worth it? Is what we're doing working? Do we need to change some things? And the validity. Dallas suggests through research adding an intervention class in addition to the core class in which the student is at risk. So basically he's saying, or the author is saying, what about adding in skills class, which we do at our school. We have a skills class for those that are performing lower than others. We bring them in, they focus more on the math and the ELA or reading part. So we give them that extra help, and it has produced some good results over time. However, it's one of those things that must be taken seriously by the students if they think it's more or less like a study hall type deal. They don't take it seriously. They don't take their time on assignments. They don't focus on what they need to do. They kind of just get in there and do what they have to do enough to get by. And the class is usually about 25-30 minutes, somewhere around along those lines. Problem statement. WSNL Middle School is struggling to show progress with students receiving response to intervention services. The lack of progress is reflecting classroom grades and state testing scores. The problem begins with the instruction, methodology to use to help these low performing students. Now, why should anybody care about this? The biggest reason I think is, with so much focus being on state testing nowadays, if you have these students who are performing lower, then we need to bring them up because it's going to affect your state testing scores overall. Not only to mention that the gap between these lower performing students and the ones who are performing on grade level continues to widen if something's not done. So in order for us to do that, we have to have a better RTI system in place to give us kind of not necessarily a leg up, but to give us an advantage to help those that are lower performing, which would help us in the longer run as far as the state testing goes and closing that gap between the lower performing students and those that are performing on grade level. Methods and study design. The study population that I used, they were 7th graders when we started this project. So all of the students were 7th graders. They were 7th grade males. We chose that demographic. The age ranged from 12 to 14 years old, with only one of those students being retained. And the level of RTI services they were receiving were all level 1 or 2. It was either a 1 or a 2. None of them were on level 3 yet. The methods and study design. The way we chose to do this, we wanted to monitor these students daily. We wanted to see what they were doing on a day-to-day basis, seeing how they were reacting in classrooms, seeing how they were performing in the classroom, were they doing their work, were they taking it seriously. So we focused on a monitoring them daily step. Data was collected from several sources. It was either taken from either classroom assignments, whether it be, say in a math class they had homework due the night before. Well, the student did it and the homework was graded and didn't score very well. So we would take that homework and kind of see what they missed on it, or if they just did not do it, or if they just tried on it and just didn't succeed. Also, we would look at tests in those classes where they were performing lower in, and see if they were showing any fluctuation or anything like that as far as the performance goes in the classroom. Also, we looked at state testing scores to kind of see if we could find a pattern, if they were going up or down, when did they perform their best, when did they perform their lowest. And we identified some strengths and weaknesses with these students in order to give us an idea of what we need to focus on during our RTI, what maybe standards or something like that we needed to really hammer home with these kids. The procedures, we used several computer programs, things like iExcel, Vocabulary, ReadWorks. We used those in the skills classes where we focus more on those, but we used those inside those skill classes in order to give them, I guess, to put it on their grade level, and that way we could start using that grade level to move up with. We also did a lot of small group and one-on-one construction that again was in those skills classes. Now, we were able to do some within the regular classroom, but it was a lot of the small group and the one-on-one, especially the one-on-one, was done in the skills classes. The data collection, again, we went day to day. We looked at a lot of stuff as far as how they performed on regular classroom assignments on a daily basis. Looked at report cards every 9 weeks to see how their grades were doing, seeing if they'd made a change or anything like that, as far as maybe moving up from a D to a C or something like that, or if they dropped. And we also looked at the yearly, as far as the state testing goes and stuff like that, as far as how they were performing overall. Did they grow? Did they not grow? Were they kind of at a plateau and they stood still over the test? There were a lot of variables in this project. The number one being motivation. We struggled to find ways to keep these students motivated and keep them going, keep them working hard. Also, attendance was a problem for a few of the people in our group. They missed more days than normal. And discipline, we had a few that had a lot of discipline referrals, that stayed in trouble a lot, therefore it kept them out of class during that instruction time, whether they were either on campus suspension or suspended off campus or things like that. Some of the data, as you can see, this is the April 2018 Scantron scores. Most of them are now keep in mind, these are 7th graders at this time. Most of them were anywhere from 4.3 to 6.5 on the math. The reading, 3.0 to 8.1, so there's a big difference there. But as we move on, when they take it in September, when we come back from school, these are 8th graders now, you can see it stays a little bit the same here, but it also drops off on a few of them. We have down here 3.1, so 3.1 is the lowest and 4.3 is now the highest. Same thing with the reading over here. We've got a 2.9 and then a 7.8, so we see a big difference there again. Now, this is the one that really shocked me. the 2019. We've got grade levels below second grade in math, below second grade in reading, but also the time it took these kids to take these tests was shocking. Some of them were 6 minutes. I think one of them, let's see, 4 minutes, things like that. It's just, those kids didn't take the time that they needed to on those tests. The summary, basically we wanted to improve RTI by creating new methods or bringing in new methods. So we're still kind of looking for some new methods to bring into RTI. We're still searching for some things that may give us better results. And also we want to get some better professional development on how to attack RTI, how to present it, how to put it in place to where we can get the results that we need. These are my references and leadership standards. Now the second slideshow I'm going to do is my EFD 552 diversity plan. I chose this because we're starting to see a little bit of an influx of diversity in our school system. So I thought this would be a good one to use as far as that goes. Things like increasing cultural awareness, being sure curriculum is aligned to promote success for all demographics, creating more parental and community involvement, and increase cultural diversity on our faculty and our staff. The first goal would be to increase cultural awareness. So you could do things like encourage your faculty to share their experiences with different cultures. You could have a culture day at school. Have people come in, have some food from different cultures, things like that. Have speakers, music, things like that that would just kind of be fun, but it would still be a learning experience at the same time. Be sure curriculum is aligned to promote our success for all demographics. You want to check for those discrepancies in the curriculum. And curriculum should be designed for successful learning. I mean, you should want every child to be able to succeed by using your curriculum. So how are we going to line that up to where someone who is a non-English speaker, how are we going to fix that to where they can still perform at the same level as the rest of the children in their class? Create more parental and community involvement. The biggest thing with me on this is an open line of communication. You have to talk to parents. You have to let them know what's going on in class. Same thing with community. You have to get out there and talk with the community and see how things are going outside of school to understand why you may be having the problems you're having inside your school. So I think the biggest thing for me on that is just being involved and having that open line of communication with those people. Increasing cultural diversity on our staff, in fact, our faculty and staff. Encourage your teachers to get to know their students. You know, I mean, on a professional level, talk about a little bit about where they came from, things like that. Create team building events for faculty and staff. I think that's a great way. Have small group discussions to allow everyone to get to know each other better. I think this is especially good at the beginning of the year when you have some newer teachers coming in and things like that. Take some time to get to know them, make them feel welcome, and make them feel like they belong there. And these are my instructional leadership standards mastered. Thank you.